On this coast in Kenya, there sits an amazing and wildly strange ecosystem capable of protecting entire villages from floods, storing carbon up to 5 times as much as a regular tropical forest, and playing home for millions of species. These are the mangroves, and despite being one of nature's most resilient, beautiful, and ecologically valuable ecosystems in the entire world, they are quickly disappearing. But speaking of resilient, beautiful, and ecologically valuable, this is Tom. And we sent Tom all the way to Kenya from Canada because we are working with an organization here that's not only trying to bring these valuable forests back, but raise up the local community with it. And we're using one of the most unconventional planting methods you've probably ever seen. In this video, we'll get into why these forests are some of the most valuable restoration resources we have at our disposal, the strange technique being used to bring them back, and finally, why these people are essential to bringing these forests back in Kenya. By the end of this adventure, you won't look at a swamp the same way ever again. So, you ready?
We are currently here at Mteza Creek in Kenya, just outside of Mombasa, and this is a mangrove forest.
So the obvious first question we need to answer is, why mangroves? What makes these plants so special that organizations dedicate time and people out under the hot sun in these swampy, muddy areas to replant them? Thankfully, I know exactly who we can talk to help us answer this question. And they're actually inside this building. Hi, Natasha. Can you help explain to me what makes mangroves so special?
Hey, Justin. Of course I can. So, in a typical forest, carbon moves in a cycle. Trees absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere as they grow. When they die and decompose, much of that carbon gets released back into the air. But mangroves do something fundamentally different, and it comes down to what's underneath them. When organic matter falls from the plant, it sinks into the sediment beneath the forest. That sediment is waterlogged and starved of oxygen, like a sponge that's fully absorbed with liquid. And without oxygen, decomposition dramatically slows. The carbon locked inside that organic matter has nowhere to go and therefore stays trapped inside the sediment.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
But mangroves do more than just store carbon. Their complex root systems are actually the perfect place for juvenile prawns and fish to grow up, get a bit stronger before they head out into the open ocean where there's predators.
So we've established that mangroves are amazing and strong and valuable for many communities across the world. What's the problem here?
Around 50% of all mangrove ecosystems are classified as vulnerable to collapse.
Since 1985, the world has lost more than a fifth of all of its mangrove cover. And when a mangrove is destroyed, the carbon it spent decades burying escapes. With so little left of this ecosystem to begin with, it is imperative that we put as many resources as we can towards protecting and restoring the remaining mangroves in this ecosystem. The story of mangroves around the world is a familiar one. But here's the hopeful thing. Thanks to the amazing science generated around the benefits that mangroves have on the world and our society, different communities of planters have emerged to help us untangle this mess and restore these ecosystems for decades to come. And now, I want to introduce you to just one of them.
So we started EarthLungs because of the realization that restoration activities need a very high level of localization.
And what advantage do you think there is to a Kenyan-owned company planting trees in Kenya?
It is a relationship.
We've been working with an amazing planting partner here in East Africa called EarthLungs, a community-led African-founded nonprofit organization dedicated to restoring degraded ecosystems like this across sub-Saharan Africa. Through their projects in places like Kenya, Mozambique, and Tanzania, they've managed to replant over 90 million trees of varying species, beginning the long-term restoration of key ecosystems such as these mangroves. But bringing back a mangrove forest like this isn't as simple as pushing in the seedlings and walking away. If we're unable to create the right conditions for these mangroves to survive, they won't. And the chances of them coming back over the long run decreases significantly. So EarthLungs planters do something that looks a little funny, but actually makes this process a lot more sustainable. They dig. Across these sites, EarthLungs team carves channels into the ground. The trenches let salt water from the nearby streams move through the site the way that it used to when it was a natural environment.
So two things the trenches do. They allow us to get the soil that the mangroves require to thrive in. The second thing is because this place becomes unbearably hot and dry and sandy, we're able to keep the water, even in low tide, we're able to keep the water.
To date, they've dug more than 20 kilometers of these trenches. And the digging of these trenches is much more than a technique. The crew is paid by how much they dig, which turns restoration into real, fair paid work for the people who live in these communities and need them to survive. And that brings us to the last point that I want to make with this video. As much as these mangroves matter on the global scale, there is another side to these forests, the way they shape the lives of the communities that live right beside them.
We are dealing with rural communities. So there's a level of communication barrier that comes in. Getting that vision debunked and that vision accepted, going all the way down to the last person in the chain. When you make it local, there is understanding of the vision and the mission, and the objectives can be broken down. So it becomes a home.
The work that EarthLungs is doing on these planting sites teaches us something very important about restoration. That partnering with local communities to help restore these ecosystems is more effective and inclusive than only using foreign resources.
Forest adjacent communities have very low chances of ever getting employment in the formal setup. So why not create an avenue where these guys can access opportunities and then stop rural to urban migration, because opportunities can actually occur.
This inclusion has proven to increase the sustainability of these projects and invigorate local economies by providing long-term impactful jobs and learning new skills.
Here in Mteza Creek, EarthLungs and their crews have planted almost 7 million trees on and around this site since 2021. And they're just getting started. Mangroves cover less than 1% of the world's tropical forest area, but their impact is completely outsized. What the work in Kenya shows us is that restoring these ecosystems isn't only a global act, it is a deeply local one, made alongside the communities who live in these forests. Real restoration takes a deep understanding of a place, it means working with the people who actually live here, and for us to be present long enough to know whether these forests are truly coming back. None of that is simple, easy, or clean, but none of it is beyond reach either. So with all that being said, what do we do now? Well, our planting partner that you met today, EarthLungs, is a community-led nonprofit organization based in Kenya. If you'd like to support them or just learn more, visit their website in the description. Or you can also watch the cool videos we've made with them before on our YouTube channel. Additionally, one of our other partners, Ecosia, has made a wonderfully researched deep dive into the flood defense mechanism of these incredible ecosystems that you should definitely check out in the description. And lastly, we plan on telling many more stories from our sites here at Veritree. So if you're willing to come along on the adventure, we'd love to have you. Thanks for watching.